Yay! Hello, friends. Oh, we're all coming in. All right. I didn't say it in the invite, but this is a pet-friendly party. So that's how we're doing it. I mean, look, this is Pookie, for anybody who doesn't know, from the internet or real life. I think Sarah's the only person who's gotten to meet Pookie so far in real life. But hello, everyone. Thank you all so much for joining us for Locus 6 closing reception. Can you even believe it? Before we even got started, it's now time to put it to bed. But that's how we do it here at Locus. It's a quick and dirty show. All of a sudden, we're making a call for art, and then the art's all coming in, and then we're saying goodnight. So we've never done a closing reception like this, and really appreciate you all tuning in. It's really exciting to see a mix of both current artists, board members, past artists, and just all the love that has been shared for the show so far is really awesome and helpful, since this is done in this room that you're seeing and not in a gallery. Getting to hug all of you and meet all of you and have exciting conversations. Bear got to attend one of the first Locus shows and experience what it was like to be like, your artist is this person right here. So hopefully we can return to that in the future. And that is, that's really what we want to do. We want to get back to having people in a room, but we also want to continue to support all of our international friends. And one of the great blessings that I'm trying to continue to tell myself during this very challenging year is that I got to meet so many international artists, and many of you are here today. And so thank you so much. And I wouldn't have met you without this challenging worldwide pandemic. But here we are. Let's talk about happy things in art. Thanks for all the artists, for no one making any COVID art. That's appreciated. So let's celebrate some of the wins that we've had, not only over the last week, but also the last 3 months. So our call went up in January at the same time that we put a call up for our board members. So a board member team was forming at the same time that this iteration of artists was forming, and that is really exciting. So it's hard to ask a lot of people to put a lot of effort in and excitement at the top of the year, and all of you took on that challenge. So for that, I deeply thank you. Over that time, we welcomed in 22 artists, 21 of them brand new to the Locus project, and then 1 Locus alum. So thank you for coming back, and thank you for joining us for the first time. Locus is not a simple ask. And so for everyone who read the description and submitted anyway, and then accepted after I laid out everything that we were asking from everyone, that's so awesome. And all of you met the challenge with grace and with compassion, and just lovely work with each other. So, and all of that has really shown. So not only your excitement and the quality of your work, but also your help in sharing the word via social media or direct outreach, and all of that has really shown. So over the past week, we've had over 400 unique visits to the gallery show. So we hit, as of today, around 430 unique visits, which is incredible. Our gallery show never saw that kind of foot traffic, and so again, it's just another way to celebrate, you know, this pivot and how it's worked out for us. So folks have seen your work with 400 unique pairs of eyeballs. And we've done all sorts of things. So we've sold at least 5 works. I know we've gotten 5 works being multiple prints and stuff, not 5 out of the 9 works, 11 works, but still amazing. So people are buying the beautiful art that you created in 3 weeks. Oh my gosh. So incredible. We had a couple of other sale conversations happening, so not sure the status of those, but hope you all are enjoying that and knowing that you created work that people wanted in their home. So that's really incredible. We've also raised a fair amount of money. So, you know, we're working with very small scale. So this was a show that I just got a funny idea for in like summer 2019. And I had the advantage of having a space that I ran, so I didn't really have any overhead costs. And, you know, getting to sell booze and collect donations at the door was awesome. And so now it's a little bit more of heavy lifting. So between direct donations, as well as just folks wanting to support the show in general, we've raised over $400 for the show. Just under $200 of that is going to go to Chicago Review of Books, which is a nonprofit that works in the literary field here, obviously, and they're really committed to giving a platform and a voice to not only diverse writers, but also small presses. So Chicago has a ton of small presses throughout the literary community, and we get to support that. So that's awesome. So thank you so much. On top of that, you know, my big dream going into this year and hopefully in future years and iterations was to develop this microgrant program. You know, I want to pay each and every artist who comes through as much as I possibly can. And up to this point, it's been little to no. And so what can I offer so far? I can offer all of your sales to go right back to you. And I think, you know, I'm so glad to continue to do that. And I want to continue to do that for as long as we possibly can. Literary artists, obviously, there's a little bit of disparity there. And so that's where the idea of the microgrant started to form. And, you know, sometimes you just have to go out there and say, this is what I want to do, and we're going to do it. And however it comes together, I hope it comes together. And through incredible donations and support, we're able to hit what I saw as our minimum, which is $250 US that we get to donate to or grant to an artist tonight. So before we get to the microgrant portion, I do want to call out a few of our friends and individuals who donated specifically towards the microgrant. So this was on top of just RSVPing for the show and throwing a few bucks in, both for LOCUS as well as Chicago Review of Books. So thank you so much to Andrew Henthorne, Adrian Messino, Trenton Goodman, Amay Kataria, Women Manifesto Magazine, sorry, Alyssa, and Julia Corman for your very, very awesome donations that help make this microgrant a reality. So all of this was community support, and coming from many years where I've just dipped into my pocket to make artwork because that's how we do it in this emerging artist DIY community, it is beautiful to see the community come together. And we hope to see it grow in the future. If any of you filled out the artist survey, I'm seeking partnerships now who will offer residencies. So literary artists, visual artists, I want to get you a few days in a beautiful cabin in the woods so you can create. I want to get you sponsorships for your supplies. I want to get you more money. I want to get you collaboration opportunities, mentorship opportunities. We're all working very hard to give you more and to have the LOCUS opportunity not just be this 6-week experience, but really something that can help move you up in your career. So I have brought on a beautiful team of individuals made up of almost entirely LOCUS alum as our 2021 board. In bringing on the microgrant, I knew that I didn't just want to sit here and just say, which of these is my favorite? Not that that's how the board picked tonight's microgrant recipient at all, but I really wanted to take myself out of that equation, as well as bring in a community that can also help grow LOCUS. So we've got a few board members here tonight. Thank you all so much for coming. And so what we did is we all got together on Thursday after the board was able to see all of your works together. They put together an incredible amount of research and thought and care around all of the works. And how the microgrant program works is we are alternating each quarter and awarding the microgrant to artists who are across the board creating brand new work and are responding to something. So that's our visual artist team for this quarter. Next quarter, of course, it will go to a literary artist. So we are starting with a visual artist tonight. with that being said, I am going to pass it along to one of our board members, Sarah Thomas, who is going to share the thought and kind of conversation that we had on Thursday, as well as reveal who our recipient of the first LOCUS microgrant is going to be. So Sarah, please take it away.
Hello, hello. Thank you, Whitney, for that intro. And thanks to all of you, as Whitney said, for coming and joining us at whatever time it is where you are. And just, you guys, I am so thankful for art. I am so thankful to have that we're all going through together. And, I think that in ways it's sort of kind of heightened that our awareness for the need for art, the need for creators, the need to make something that wasn't there before. And you're all a part of that. We're all kind of like making something out of nothing. And in this case, our artist and literary artist had something to go off of. And it's amazing to see that we can still connect in this deep way across oceans, across borders, across sidewalks. And I'm just so excited and grateful for all of you to be here. And the board and I, we sat down and we went through all the works. We went through all the written pieces, the reactions, and just, kind of just took our time and really sat with art in a way that, while we were all behind a computer screen, we all almost came to a general consensus of who we would want this microgrant to go to. And it was tough. We had, different ideas of what we wanted to see, different, reactions that we took from the pieces. And we came to almost a general consensus that we would love to award this first microgrant to Laura Arminda Kingsley. Woo! Oh, wow. Congratulations, Laura. Oh my gosh. I just have to say that nearly everyone, I think, came right back to this work. We, talked about other works that we liked and things that spoke to us, but we all I personally felt a huge, just wonderful punch in the gut. Like you reached right down into me with this, and just your practice and the methods that went into this, and how you took time to watch different scenes from the Spike Lee series. And yeah, it really just blew us away, and we are so happy and grateful to be able to give you this microgrant. And yeah, if you have any words you want to share, again, thank you so much and congratulations.
So yeah, I'm kind of like, oh, okay, processing, that is my name, hey. Thank you so much for really taking the time to sit with the work. And I'm very moved that it spoke to you. It was a very intense process that I really enjoyed, sort of engaging with someone else's writing and sort of a very different perspective of a Spike Lee piece that I've engaged with over the years as well. And of course, and shout out to Aisha. She wrote me that she wasn't going to be able to be here because she's working right now for writing such beautiful work and such evocative work that gave me a lot of interesting images and juicy bits to work with. And also, of course, thank you so much to Whitney for coming up with this concept and putting all this together. I know it was crazy amount of work, and I felt really, how can I say, I felt very safe and sort of positively guided with you as a curator. Like you were always on top of the next step, and I really appreciate that. And thank you so much to everyone on the board for taking the time to sit with our work. I know that's also a big ask. Yeah, thanks.
Well, thank you so much. I'm gonna throw myself in here. Thank you so much to Sarah for sharing that, and to Laura. Laura, do you want to share a little bit? I know that you obviously took the time to share in the interview and in your work about your process, but I know you also shared that kind of a new series is being born out of this, which I think the board was also really excited about. So can you share a little bit about that and what you know, maybe your next steps or the future, whether or not it's involved with this series looks like?
Yeah, that's a great question. It was really an process intensive piece where I went from looking at the writing and highlighting the images that most spoke to me, then going over Spike Lee's Nala Darling, not only the movie, his first movie, but also the Netflix series, and taking screenshots of the scenes that I thought best reflected that which I saw portrayed in the writing, and then going through those shots and creating digital collages, which is a lot of how I work. I create Photoshop collages, then so I can work out my compositions and what I'm going for before I start painting. And then, of course, I wanted to have my own images, not Spike Lee's images. So I kind of did a photo shoot. And after that photo shoot came the photo collages that I ended up using to start with the paintings. And I worked for a while on a paint. You know, I usually work like this, what you see back here, which is this tones of blue on indigo that almost look like underwater scenes. So I had to work with a completely different color palette. And that was also super good visual exercise for me to just develop a new color palette and get out of my working rhythm. And also just make a painting that I didn't like, that I ended up painting over and throwing that out and just, yeah, doing a few iterations, a series, if you would. I was just like, yeah, I have license to do whatever I want, actually. So I went with that. Yeah.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing. Well, congratulations. This is a micro grant that we put no restrictions on. You have no duty to report to us. Should you use it for something fun and interesting and you want to share it with us, awesome. Otherwise, we hope that it either provides some relief to you personally, or it you know, helps you elevate your artistic practice. But we really love the work that you put together. So thank you for all that you've done.
Thank you.
Yeah. So that is the main, you know, goal of our meeting here tonight. But I also wanted to take the opportunity, and I really wanted to open up the floor. You know, I talked to the board the other night and said, you know, I think we're just going to do it really fast. I think we're just going to come in, we're just going to tell them, we're going to high five each other, and then we're going to say good night. And I know for a lot of you, it's a wild time. So if you need to leave, if you need to go to bed, or if your day is just starting, how do time zones work? I'm not sure. Please head on out. But if you want to hang out, and if anyone has questions for their fellow artists, I know we've got a couple of pairings that are here, or if you just want to chat openly, I just wanted to give space for that instead of just being like, thanks for the work, have a good life, you know? So I'm just going to create that open floor opportunity here. And if anyone wants to share, ask questions, anything, I just wanted to create that space. It's always that in between, right? Where everyone's like, not me, not first. Julia?
I was wondering if maybe we could go around the room and introduce ourselves. Maybe that would be a good way to open up conversation.
I think that's awesome. Julia, would you like to start?
Yeah, sure. Hi, everyone. My name is Julia Corman. I use they, them pronouns, and I'm a sculptor. I'm also a LOCUS alum, and I'm on the board. So thank you, everybody, for coming. I loved seeing your work. Yeah, no, I'm just curious to meet all of you.
Thanks, Julia.
Who's next?
I guess that's you, Michael.
Hi, Michael Workman here, literary artist for this iteration. Yeah, it was really great to see the process unfold and see how the pairings worked. You know, I'd been watching and been a fan of the LOCUS series for a while. So then to sort of see it from the inside was great. It was a real experience. And, you know, it's also great just to like have have that interaction, have that like exchange with someone who's thinking about your work differently than you are. So I think that was sort of one of the joys of it is, just seeing how it gets translated, and so that was fun. I'm sorry, I just signed on, so I think I missed the award portion. But yeah,
it's okay. Laura is our microgrant recipient. So
okay.
Yeah, yay.
Yeah, I got the very last part of that. So
it's all good. I'm also recording, so it'll end up. We'll share.
It'll be out there in the world somewhere. Yeah.
Of course. Yeah.
Great.
Thanks, Michael.
Yeah, of course.
We should have done.
I can go next. My name's Catherine Gwynn. I use she, her, and they, them pronouns. I was a literary artist in this rendition, and I got paired with Mary Lou, who created this amazing lightbox interpretation of a poem that I just absolutely adore. Yeah, and I guess that's also a comment that I just have as well, is that I just think it's just the concept of using a lightbox for that just, it feels like so brilliant on so many levels, and I just I love it so much. Also, my girlfriend is giving me coffee right now, so take that.
High five. Mary Lou, do you want to share with us next?
Yeah, I guess I'll go. My name is Mary Lou Herrera. I use she, her pronouns. I am from Chicago, and I am a collage artist, and I'm currently getting my MFA in the print media department at SAIC. So it was super fun to do this outside of like grad school, and like I had this light box. It was a fish tank originally that had like this like paper that I found like at a Goodwill, and I had to have it, and it didn't work, which was like perfect. And I got to rip it out and keep it. And it's just been there existing in my studio for a while. And when I read the piece, I was like, this is exactly what I need it for. And I used it, and it was super fun. I made light boxes before, but nothing this small. So it was super cool to just like decorate it and bedazzle it and like have fun with it.
There you go. We'll put in future LOCUS descriptions. You're just welcome to bedazzle anything that you'd like, and full success, full support. I also love Mary Lou. Not that I was like sneaking on the comments or anything, but I do love that you were exchanging pleasantries with someone who worked with you in light boxes before, and just the kind words that they were saying was so cool to witness in my internet stalking. Sorry, y'all.
Yeah, no, she taught me originally how to make light boxes because I wanted to learn how to make them, and that was during undergrad, and it was my first time using power tools, which were like super scary to use first, and then got used to them, and then I stopped making them because I didn't have access to them. And picking up a little fish tank from Goodwill was like super fun to have and like keep, and you do something with it. So yeah.
Awesome. Thank you. Would anyone else like to say hello? Zainab?
Yeah. Hi, my name is Zainab, and I'm a visual artist. I use she, her pronouns. And Mary Lou, your art piece gives us that nostalgic vibes of our childhood, like going back there. It's beautiful, to be honest. Hi, everyone. Yeah. So a quick question that's been like buzzing in my head. What was your initial reaction after shooting the video, after going through the process? What did you guys feel about the whole exhibition, being online and just being paired with someone who is unknown and who's just, you don't know that person, but you still feel that connection in your work and their work. So I just want to ask if someone's interested, and we can let the conversation go with that.
I will say that I was surprised by how cohesive it was, the final product. I thought that this was fun process-wise to participate in. I really enjoyed it. I was the starting piece, right, for, it was my poem that I started with, and then that Mary Lou took inspiration to create a visual piece from. And process-wise, I had a lot of fun during it. But then I was not surprised, but I was very impressed by how, even though it was in this digital space, how it felt still very crisp and curated. And even seeing like the way the interviews were pieced together, I was like, oh, I've never actually talked to this person, but it sounds like we're having a conversation. And I thought that was really cool.
That's the goal. Yeah. Woo, okay, great. Yeah, so for those of you who didn't get to participate or weren't even aware because it was so Chicago focused on the first two iterations, essentially what we would do is we split the artists in half over 2 nights. And just because having 10 pairs of artists, I would do like 20 artists a show, having 10 pairs of artists in at once was like too much for one night. And so I would do 5 pairs each night, a Friday night and a Saturday night. And which was exciting to have like a double opening night in a gallery show. Like that was rad. But basically we had like an hour of just open gallery, and then had an interview portion where if you didn't like seek out your artist, which many artists like walked around the room being like, are you it? Are you it? Because there was no introduction before that night. And then I would be like, you and you, come on up. And then we would get to sit down and have this conversation. And, Bear took part in it, like I said earlier. So maybe you have something to share about it, but it's just it's a different experience, and was something that I was really afraid that I would lose in the virtual show. So that means a lot that folks read the interviews at all, because it's like on hour like 10 into it, you're like, nobody's gonna read this. And then when people do, it's like, oh good, okay, great. It was all worth it. And I would love to bring more of that element to the virtual space, hopefully in the future, to have more direct conversations or have more like reveals, but yeah, so that means a lot. So thanks.
Yeah, I can definitely speak to someone who has participated in both the like live IRL version of Locus. I was a literary artist for the very first one. And it was super exciting. In that iteration, the literary artist wrote from the visual artist. So the written works were inspired by the visual art. And so for this one, it was really exciting to have the opposite, where someone was creating something from my written work. And I really appreciated, in a digital space, it provides more opportunities for artists from different parts of the world to be interacting. I think in the digital space, there's definitely better accessibility. So you have the image descriptions. I have a deaf friend who is able to participate and, view the work. And so I think that accessibility is something that the virtual space offers that, the in-person doesn't necessarily, not in the same ways. And I also appreciated like having time to think about my responses to the interview questions, because in the first one, I definitely experienced that like, I'm up in front of people and like, how do I talk about some of the like difficult things that I felt about the art without like offending people, which, at that point in my life, I was very like non-confrontational, but yeah, it was good to be able to like have that time to kind of process and articulate what I really like felt when I saw the work by my artist that was paired with me. So yeah, I like both. I actually kind of experienced a little bit of like grief with the show opening, of like not having that like in-person creative energy like in the room, and that was kind of surprising to me. But you know, I just kind of was like, yeah, that's like a real feeling to have right now, is that grief of like missing out on that energy in the room. But
it's so real. I feel you so hard. Like, yeah, like pressing go is not as exciting as opening the door and being like, hello, come on in, you know? So
yeah, I definitely like was very excited to like see Vidushi's work and like find out who that person was. That excitement was still there, but yeah, like I'm a very like collaborative sort of artist. I do work in theater too, so like I'm missing that in-person art world and gatherings for sure.
it'll be back.
I know, soon.
We're getting there. Yeah, my hope for the future, and we'll see how the rest of the year goes. I'm planning on just being virtual for the rest of the year, but we'll see. And then my hope for 2022 and beyond, because these virtual shows have been so amazing. One, it really depends on what kind of funding we get this year. So if we're just like rolling in the dough, I'm gonna be like, I'm flying in, everybody, let's go. Probably can't do that, but what I would like to do is switch to an in-person, what like off and on, like in-person virtual. So turning around 4 in-person shows a year is some heavy lifting in how fast that we do it. And so I think it kind of checks both boxes, right, where we get to continue to have all this international and even just out of state representation, as well as increase the accessibility, just like you said. And I think moving forward there will just always be a virtual element represented in the show because of that. And then fully virtual, so we can just get all of our friends in and meet people from all over. So yeah, I can't wait to be around human beings again, y'all. Hi, Emma. We're just chatting. There's no stress. It's good to see you. Welcome.
Oh, great.
Do you want to introduce yourself? Say anything? We're just sharing. We're just chatting.
Sure. Let me step to another room. No, I wasn't sure what the vibe was going to be.
I also didn't want to put you on the spot, so.
Oh, no worries. Hi, everybody. I'm so sorry. I'm sorry I was late. This is. Oh. I don't know.
Casual.
what even is time these days? But yeah, I was just out taking a walk. Found some nice yellow feathers near the Mariano's. Anyway.
I mean, who doesn't find beautiful things near Mariano's, which is a local grocery chain for those who aren't around here?
Oh yeah, forgive me, I'm in Chicago, but yeah, it's sweet to see all of your faces. I hope you're having a nice time. Good day.
Thanks, Emma.
Thanks.
Anyone else want to say hello or share anything?
Nancy? Hi, I'm Nancy. My background is in painting. I'm calling in from Bologna, Italy, but I was a former Chicago native, so I know all these places that you're talking about. But I just kind of wanted to add to what we were saying before, and I also wanted to just kind of say that that I was also really happy with not just the polished, very professional look of everything, but also like that you were able to do that, and then but also keep a kind of intimate feel as well. So I really appreciated that. I think that like things moving online, there's a feeling at times where it feels like because of the slick digital interface, that sometimes you feel a little bit distant. And I felt like that you managed to find this really beautiful balance between the two. So really great job.
Thank you so much. That means so much. I think it's really challenging. The board and I have been talking about that as well. Like, what are our options these days, you know? And I feel like it's either those weird 3D gallery renderings where you're like going through the space, but it feels like you're like, you get sick to your stomach doing it. And that's not the kind of gallery experience that I want, you know? And so I think I've had a lot of, you know, I want to honor the show and all of the work. And so I've had a lot of like self-questioning as to whether or not this platform is providing the space and representing all of you in the way that you would want. So, so I'm glad to hear that so far it's great. And then hopefully we can continue again as hopefully we get funded and become a nonprofit and build things out that we can continue to refine and level up and make the site something that, you know, you can never replace the actual feeling of standing in front of a piece of art, but as technology advances, as do websites, as do, you know, our budget to hire a designer who actually knows how to code, you know, we'll figure it out. But I'm so glad that how it is right now feels nice. So thank you, Nancy. Your work is so cool. Oh, I would just want to touch it, which I know is not allowed, but I'm just being honest. I just want to do this all around it.
Come to Italy. Y'all can touch the paintings.
Fine. Guess I gotta go. I'll be right back, guys. I gotta go to Italy. Colty, I know it looks like you're creating, but would you like to say hello?
You know, you must have read my mind because I was like, all right, I'll go. I figured it was appropriate to be crafting at the closing reception of the LOCUS gallery show.
Absolutely.
So hello. What a small world, right? So yeah, I've been upcycling some cardboard with, you know, secondhand materials. My dear friend Crow is here with me, also crafting. My friend Crow is also a poet, and I'm encouraging them to come out for the next LOCUS and put their crowetry into the world. But yeah, we've been crafting, and just before this, we were at a salon discussing capitalism and the artist. So it's been a fun, artsy, craftsy day, and it's such a pleasure to be in like extended community with all of you now through LOCUS. Like, I love the name of it. I love that this show is a locus of all of our energies intertwining, you know, so to the degree that I could say a lot of things about all of you individually and just take up far too much airtime, I'll just say it's really cool to be co-creators with all of you. And, you know, I will also echo the idea that it was very cohesive, and a lot of the sort of process that went into my own reflecting on my work, as someone who's been really indulgent of their introverted side in 2020. Like, I spent a lot of years like being very much extroverted performer and very ambitious type. And I'm not anti-ambition, but 2020 really gave me a chance to turn inward. But sometimes I forget that other people would like to read and engage with my poetry, and that like they remember I exist, because I can get really into my little art world and be super satisfied, and forget to pop out and be like, oh, hello, fellow creators. So hello, fellow creators, and thank you for making these opportunities possible. I would love to keep following in and diving into the things that you make. So if at any point future collaborations are on your mind, please don't hesitate to reach out. I might be kind of introverted, but I'm always like up to something, and I just love the energy this group was able to create. So thank you all for coexisting.
Thank you so much. Sorry,
I was just gonna add, sorry, my girlfriend heard the name Colty and was like, Colty, and ran over because apparently you two know each other.
Hi,
so
hello. We do know each other. And that's why I say it's, you know, a small and beautiful world. Because
yeah, I had no clue you were also involved in this project. That's funny.
It is a small world.
I know.
Just wanted to throw that in.
I feel special that I'm like a person of interest that you would run over and be like, oh, you know, because again, I know I'm an artist, but I also like, I've been very much in my, you know, like we all have, 2020 has made us solo versions of ourselves in a number of ways. So like remembering to be in relationship and remembering that like, you know, this is going to sound so silly, but that like other people exist, right? That we get to stop being islands so soon and come together. It's very energizing to be in a springtime show with so many people and like at this time, because I feel a lot of energy and hope in the air, which isn't to say that the last year has just like, you know, it's all fine now. It's far from that. But like the complexities of knowing that like we can create community like this, it's really rejuvenating. So again, I'm using a lot of words, but thank you.
Just to say hi.
You know, just to say hi.
Hi.
It's wonderful. No, I mean, it's so real. Colty and I met just over a year ago, and we were mid-rehearsal of a production when COVID happened. And so we didn't even get to finish what we started. So getting to collaborate in this sort of way again is really exciting. And clearly, y'all, I know a lot of you are based in Chicago, but for our friends who are not, you've got a huge community already here. So please come see us whenever it is safe for you to do so, because we've got a lot of things happening and a lot of exciting plans for the future. So we will all be physically together again, I'm certain. Anyone else want to share anything before we say goodbye?
Actually, I had a curiosity, just like a little question. When I heard Catherine talk about how much she liked Mary Lou's live box, I was just curious, like, and this is a question for Catherine and all the other literary artists present, like, do you feel a curiosity or a desire to maybe experiment with a light box with your writing, or maybe use some of the visual elements that spoke to you, integrate them into the way in which you present your writing? Okay.
Yeah, so that's a great question, because I'm actually primarily a playwright. I do poetry, but my main artistic practice isn't actually writing for theater. So it's been interesting because I'm actually very used to collaborating with my words being translated in a tangible, physical, and visual way. That's like usually my preferred method of creating and writing in a lot of ways. But in many ways, because of this past year, because of the pandemic, I've actually had a lack of access to that. And so that's why I ended up, I've been writing, poetry, for a long time, but I wrote a lot more poetry this year just because I wasn't really able to make theater the way I was used to. So this was just actually, it kind of weirdly reignited some ways of how I'm, how I really love that collaborative element. And I love playing with that visual element and getting to work with other artists to help a vision of mine come to life, to build something together, greater than the sum of just what I made. This was actually really reminiscent of that and helped feed that theater artist inside of me that is just yearning to be back in near stage again. Even if I'm not on the stage, I'm not on the stage, but I stand to the wings of the stage and cheer them on. So yeah, it was really, it made me actually really excited just again for the possibilities again of like that kind of collaboration can exist outside of theater though as well. It's not the only way to do that kind of work of making a text tangible. Yeah, so it was really cool in that way.
Yeah, I also want to echo that idea of tangibility. My written work can be very like heady or cerebral, I guess. But I actually do physical art as well, and working with costume design and textiles. And so to open up the reveal email and see the Dishi's piece braided and see like this artwork that was very detailed and I feel like captured a lot of these different concepts that really could have gone in a lot of different directions. In some ways, it made me trust myself more. I'm not sure how to explain that, but I think seeing a physical embodiment of the words makes them feel real in a new way. And so I think that, you know, moving forward and having this experience of someone putting my words into a tangible object makes me want to explore that tangibility. I don't know if that's a word, but I'm a literary artist, so I can make up words, right? So yeah, that like tangibility, I think, is something that will have an impact on my work and trusting the images that I'm choosing and the references that I'm making. And, you know, I think sometimes I do that and I put it out there and it's like, well, I don't know if anybody will really get this, or I don't know if it'll really like speak to anybody, but I'll just make it and share it, and whatever happens, happens. And so, yeah, it just like feels good to have that tangibility.
Yeah, trust is such a key concept in all of this, but like set up in a really well, I guess the first trust being like that of the curation, but then also the trust of the artist or the other half to like carry it through. And so it's definitely a really good exercise for me, for everybody, but for me to engage with as a person who typically like works kind of alone and I've taught myself in like many different mediums. I make collages, I weave, and like to do all of that in service of the pursuit to like be able to best explain my vision, to then give that up a little bit and see what somebody else takes from it is just like, I want to do more of that. We should do more of that. Like that's what conversation is, you know. And that feels like a lesson being driven home in 2020 at large and this past year at large. But then also is just a really nice and like gentle, forgive me if that feels like diminishing, but just like a gentle, safe, beautiful exercise in this show as well. So yeah, I thank you all for your trust.
A quick question for Whitney. How did you feel? I mean, we are all talking about what we felt. How did you feel curating this show from the start? And did you picture it happen in this big scale right now? Like, what are you feeling right now? Just a quick question.
Yeah, I mean, a lot
from the beginning.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's I think the unique challenge in curating a show like this as compared to either jurying or curating a show where people are submitting specific works is just looking at people's works as a whole and guessing, or as Emma more nicely put it, you know, putting trust into these artists, like, okay, I can understand your trajectory. And sometimes that goes totally out. Someone's like, I decided to create something I've never created before. And then you're like, okay, that was a curveball. But, you know, so putting that sort of trust in the artists, I have just found over the last 6 iterations is that it pretty much always works out. And that's not me being like, because of my curation. I think it's the concept and this trust and this relationship. You know, everyone's videos are like, when they send it to me, they're like, this is terrible, but I hope it's good enough, you know? And like, I'm always like, it was so sweet and perfect. You were perfect, you know? So everyone.
I'm not the only one.
No, when you sent yours in, I was like, this is a film. This is the most beautiful film I've ever seen. It was so, come on, you were so beautiful. You're in black and white. You're so like calculated. Oh my gosh, it was art in itself. But yeah, I mean, it's exciting to me. If it's the reason that I just have continued to do it because I feel both honored to hold this trust, and also, you know, I'm a terrible secret keeper. And I have to keep a lot of secrets in this show. So that's my challenge to myself. And yeah, it's really thrilling because everyone's artwork and everyone's pieces come in at different times. Some people right away are just like, here it is. And then some people like up until the 11th hour are like, okay, here, I put this together all the way to the end, you know, and that's okay too. It's all, so like it stretches out and I get to know everyone in this like really interesting way. It is like a very lonely experience, you know, until I get to this, getting to have this with you all is very fulfilling. But yeah, I mean, I think Bear, you know, really put, you know, words to it that I hadn't really considered before. Like, you know, my partner is a chef, and so I spend a great amount of time by myself. And you know, she came over the night that the show opened, and the show had been open for a couple of hours already, and she's like, how do you feel? And I'm like, you know, like, of course, like I love the show. I was so excited to share it with the board. And to get to talk about it. I mean, when we went into our meeting on Thursday, I was like, did you like it? You know? But it's also, yeah, it's pretty lonely. It's like, I don't know, I sent some emails. I hope people like it, you know? So that's really hard. And I want to open the door and see all of you walk in and, you know, get to stand in front of your work and talk about it and point out little things and, you know, drag audience members over. I wish Elaine was here because just in the last week did I discover that there's a hidden face in Elaine's work. And so I want to drag everyone over to Elaine's work and be like, look at the hidden face, you know, like I wish I could do that. So all I can do is you know, try my best to share and try my best to continue to be humble and work as hard as I can to give back to the artists who commit themselves to this project, because it is such a fast turnaround and I'm asking a lot. And especially with the visual show, like with the in-person show, it was about the same timeline, but they weren't doing reaction videos, they weren't doing interviews, you know, they weren't doing image descriptions. And so all the work that is asked of everyone, to have everyone just continually show up and commit so beautifully to the work. I mean, Jessica had COVID. I didn't know that. I didn't know Jessica had COVID as she was working on her beautiful collage. So I feel extremely thankful. I feel extremely enamored with the show. I'm so excited to have grown my community as well as the LOCUS community. And yeah, I hope that answers the question, but lots and lots of things. And yeah, a meeting like this is very fulfilling because I certainly don't need a bunch of gassing up, but more just it's just so thrilling to get to share this space with everyone and if anything, simply re-energized to do it all over again when the next call opens in a week and a half. So, you know, so yeah, it's an exciting project, and I'm so fortunate that it's grown into what it is. So thank you.
Thank you. That was a beautiful answer. And I think after the show ended, it's more like, as for me as an artist, I feel like I'm connected to not just my partner in the show, but also the other works that I'm seeing. Like, I've seen a connection in the works, and I feel like I'm connected to their work as well. So it's really very energizing.
I agree. Thank you so much. Yeah, Sarah had to drop off, but that's okay. Anyone else, friends?
I have one other anecdote I'd like to share, and then I have to hop off myself. But a few things shifted in my life at the end of last year, and I made the commitment to get 2 tattoos in the month of March, which were along the lines of, you know, the work was written in February, and then some of the reaction stuff was happening in March. I had given my tattoo artist a bunch of pieces of my poetry and a bunch of image inspiration to like also collaborate on this visual art type piece, because I didn't know fully how to design it, but I gave him a lot of words and a lot of concepts, and he fused them into a piece. And I recognized in between getting the design on my left shoulder for International Women's Day and the one on my right shoulder for my half birthday, that he put, I'm going to scoot my laptop a little closer. My poem is called Stardust, and it's a really interwoven kind of piece to begin with. Interwoven even from like its origin with somebody else's idea about it. And without giving the whole blow by blow of what I offered this tattoo artist, Stardust was not part of the poetry profile that I handed over to him to design this tattoo, but he still wound up putting like a star front and center on both of my shoulders, like dripping these patterns into like an interpretation of just words and metaphors and ideas and hopes and dreams. And to like have both of these like incorporated on my body in this time of LOCUS and like in this season of creation, in this really collaborative way. I just really want to emphasize via that anecdote and via, you know, just sharing with all of you. I feel very reflected and entangled with all of you. And I'm looking forward to following your work and seeing how you grow and entangle with your growth from here on out. So thank you for being alive and elemental with me. It means so much. So until we meet again, I send my love. And thank you all for doing it.
Thank you, Colty. I can't wait to see it in real life, hopefully soon. Yeah, so exciting. The tattoos do last forever though, so just so you know, it's a tricky thing, you know? Nobody told me. Thought they were all temporary. Anyway, it's my favorite joke, okay? You get a lot of tattoos, you can start making that joke. You can use it. Everybody can use it. Okay. All right, my friends. Well, we've hit an hour, so I think this is time to call it, but I really, really appreciate all of your time. Congratulations again to Laura. Congratulations to all of you for the connections you've made, the art that you put forth, and let's do it again. Yeah, I can't wait to continue to connect with you all. We will continue to work with each other, and yeah, if you aren't following each other already, please do, and then keep each other in mind for future opportunities. We're all one big community now, obviously tons of us in Chicago, so we'll all be running into each other hopefully soon, but until next time, thank you all so much. Have a good rest of your day, night, evenings, tomorrows, and yeah, keep creating, y'all. Thank you. Bye.